right up and get your products over here.
The Black Market.
Joining me in the Black Market is the owner of Midnight Studios Effects, Kyle Thompson. What's up, Kyle?
Hello, how are you?
Hey, look, I'm not only a fan, but I'm also a customer. I think over the last number of years, I've purchased the Fawn, your Timberwolf, the Trick or Treat, and that little crazy brain crab creature thing. And so
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
supporting the studio.
Now I'm just a home haunter, but if I owned a pro haunt, I'd have a much larger selection of your wares all over my haunt.
I am too. I'm a backyard haunter.
Oh, cool.
I do jack-o'-lanterns in the front, and I do my favorite sets from Disneyland in the back. Built some cool things for my daughter over the last 7 years here.
Now, you're out in, Scottsdale?
My new shop is in Scottsdale at the Pavilions Entertainment District, and I live about 10 minutes east of there in Mesa.
Now, the details from the products that not only what I've seen at Transworld, but just the stuff I personally own. The details of your props are phenomenal. The quality is amazing. Because I purchased the Timberwolf and the Fawn about 5 or 6 years ago, and I'm rocking those out in my front yard pretty much all through the month of October. And the weather's not easy up here on the props, but I've had them up here, and they haven't cracked. The paint still looks great, and the mechanism on the Timberwolf still works flawlessly. I'm impressed.
Awesome. Very glad to hear that.
Yeah.
The Timberwolf's one of my favorites. Doing a little more collaboration with another artist on a larger version of that. But the Timberwolf molds are out. We're actually pouring about 6 or 8 castings of those as we speak. It's just a very simple plug-and-play design that I, thought people would enjoy and try to get it across for a decent price. And so it's a Dayton lifetime warranty gear shaft motor, and it's got a 300-watt sound system in it. I don't know if yours had sound or not.
No, mine just had
a sound option.
Yeah, I didn't go for I don't know if it was available when I purchased it. Maybe it was. I didn't even know, so I didn't opt for it.
Yeah, pieces are constantly evolving. We're always trying to figure out ways to put more features and more things on them to make them better.
Yeah, because
that was the goal.
Now, can you animate, or is it an option to pretty much get any one of your statues or props animated, or is it only like certain items that have the option for animation?
I think a big majority of them, yes, because we're a custom shop, so we're trying to cater to creative people. So when somebody has something in mind and they want something to headpan or tilt or blow fog or silicone LED eyes or blinking eyes or whatnot, and we try to, I like to talk to the customers on the telephone and see exactly what these are being used for, where they're going, and what the application is, so that, while we're pouring the molds and we're building them to order, we might as well, have the option to customize them. I think that's only fair.
Yeah, I've noticed that with some companies, it's just you just go on the website and you can either select it animated or static, and you click checkout, and that's pretty much it. Where I've noticed, especially on your website, that option
I don't have an add cart at all.
Yeah, there's no cart. You just usually it's like call, place the order, and I've had that same experience where I talked to you or one of your staff and kind of went over some of the details of what I was using it for and whatnot.
Right. And that is due to workload. And we are a smaller boutique. There's 7 people working here now, but in the beginning, it was 2 or 3. And so our workload became overwhelming, I'd say, in 10, 11, things changed with the studio, and Transworld was receiving it well, and we were getting a lot larger orders. Instead of, a $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 order, we were getting 20s and 30s. So a lot of things had to change. And, I just can't, there's only so much time in the day. So I'd like to talk to the people and let them know where our workload is and to expect, what time frame to expect and whatnot.
Do you have any downtime at the shop, or is it pretty much just constant because you're probably...
It's crazy.
Yeah.
This business has turned into a monster. It really has. I mean, I sculpt for myself, so I sculpt things that I love. And I don't really need to be the best sculptor or painter, although I'm constantly learning and, I'll never stop learning. It's just this endless thing that you just keep studying, better anatomy, more cutting edge effects, and just trying to really bring cutting edge effects offered to the haunt and the theme park industry. And so it's just a never ending learning process. And so I sculpt for myself, and I take the pieces that I love to the show, and if the buyers and other haunters and parks connect with that, then my job is done. And then I kind of feed off the feedback and come back to the shop and decide, what we're going to make. But we cater to so many themes that it's endless. I mean, it goes all the way from mythology to, modern cutting edge Hollywood effects is what I try to do. And I could go a lot darker. I really could be a lot darker, but I grew up very close to Disneyland. I have this huge love for Disneya and Disney and Halloween, and I try to marry Disney with Halloween and kind of mix that with, the golden era of practical effects through the 80s and 90s, which I loved ever since I was a kid. So I kind of marry those attributes together and do the best I can. And I'm glad that it's, been received fairly well over the years. Very lucky, very fortunate, and I thank my lucky stars that people really like the style that I put into it, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a pumpkin monster. It's just an alien, or it's just a werewolf, but it's how you style it is what it really is in the end.
Yeah, because you have
tons of people that make werewolves, tons of people that make aliens, pumpkin monsters, goblins, everything in between, but it's the style that you put into it that really, gets noticed, I think.
Yeah. I mean, you have, like you say, you have everything from mummies, lycans, vampires, goblins, zombies, witches.
Oh, man. And it just keeps going on and on. My brain's like a waterfall of ideas, too, and it's like I can't really sketch them all out in clay as quickly as I would like to, but I have tons of new ideas. They're always coming in, and there's all these boogies that I would like to get out and introduce out there. And I have to thank my friend Jordy Schell and Jonathan Fuller and Ed Edmonds of Distortions Unlimited, because that is basically, and of course Jeff Studios. Jeff Kime, Ed Edmonds, John Fuller, and Jordy Schell is kind of what has spawned Midnight Studios Effects.
You mean they inspired you, or you've kind of...
Well, yeah, I'm basically a hybrid of those artists. The first time I ever got my hands on a horror prop, it was a Distortions Unlimited prop, and I was about 10 or 11 years old, so it was quite a while ago. I'm 42.
How did you cut your teeth on the... Like, how did you... I mean, obviously, you dove in at some point and started sculpting or whatever, so... How old were you?
I did. So I was a musician at first. I played music ever since I was 14. I was a drummer and bass player, and then I went off to playing guitars. I played in metal and punk rock bands, and I always dabbled in effects and scrap building stuff when I was really young. And then that turned into when I was older and I was doing a lot of music work. I would also get hired to do beauty makeup on set. So I was doing a lot of on-set makeup. Then I started molding actors and actresses, learning alginate and body double. And then it got into spraying blood with fire extinguishers and doing air mortars and lots of blood and gore, and creating severed heads and simple effects for some independent films. And I went to Los Angeles and actually met Jordy Schell and just started to really get interested in sculpting Disney clay. So when I saw what was happening with water clay, I just really became obsessed almost with Laguna clay and just started to see what I could do. I sold the first couple pieces on eBay. I think this was like 03 or 04 is when I first started sculpting water-based clay. And I sold my first piece for like $17 or $25 or something. You know, it was a possessed girl and a zombie and a killer clown. And just some things that I thought I would try to sketch out in clay and kind of refine the best I could. And, you know, those pieces sold on eBay. I sold a few copies, and then I kept going. I didn't really show anybody my work for about 2 or 3 years, just kind of kept to myself and tried to practice and hone the craft a little bit. And then I was introduced to Trans World by a guy that I did some Halloween work for that owned some haunted houses in Arizona here. And he took me to my first Trans World show. And he introduced me kind of to that whole industry. And for that show, I created a costume. And that costume was noticed by Haunt World magazine, and I got Costume of the Year that year. And once that happened, I came back with a lot of positive energy, and I started a line of costumes. Started sculpting heads, not only heads, but heads, hands, chest, head, hands, chest, feet. And just started really attacking like an approach for costumes. And I wanted to make some really cool creature suits. And from there, it just got even crazier. I just started sculpting legs and arms and start to see what I could do as far as some flat back figures and welding some frames and dropping frames and fiberglass molds and pulling out flat back creatures. And I created a line for Trans World, and it took off pretty good after about 3 years. You know, it takes you a little while to find your niche in the industry and kind of especially show the clients that you'll deliver. You know, that's a big concern of a lot of these companies. They can take something really nice to the show, but will they deliver on time? Will they meet deadlines? You know, there's one thing about being a good artist. There's another thing about being a good businessman and doing what you say you're going to do for people. So you got to kind of really take both of those very seriously. And that's what I do. And I do 100% live this stuff. I mean, it is a massive part of my life.
I would imagine, especially based on the scope of, you know, between like
there's a big body of work.
Yeah, it definitely.
There's a huge body of work. I mean,
how many can you like realistically? How many new pieces can you add in a given year?
About 40.
Really?
40 to 50. Yeah. I do as much sculpting as I can. I acquire a mold or two from John Fuller, and I kind of just blend kind of homogenize the whole thing into the line. You know, I utilize the pieces as I feel, you know, they're needed. But we're up to 1,200 molds now, and what's funny is I used to have a really strong database in my mind, and I used to know where everything was and what features or where they were, and all the molds were very organized and labeled at about 750, 800 molds, which is a few years ago. And now that there's 1,200 molds, I'm having difficulty remembering all the designs because there's just so many now. So it's like a hard drive overload. If that makes any sense. It's crazy. Yeah. I mean, think about if you had 1,200 molds, like where would you even begin to, I mean, we try to alphabetize them and organize them from like popularity to themes and everything else, but it's just overwhelming when you have that many molds. So I'm trying to retire about 20 or 30 of them here and there every couple of years, as I'm creating now about 20 or 30 more. So I'm trying to find this happy spot where we can
you're
keep it organized.
You're doing some really like extremely large creatures now, and I mean, I don't know if I've just seen a couple of them, especially at some of the Trans World video I watched this year. What's the largest piece that you offer now?
Well, the very line of like my super creatures that we call them, they're everything over 8 feet. So I mean, we offer them 8, 9, 10, and even 11 and 12 if someone wants something super tall. I mean, we generally don't go over about 12 feet.
Is that for shipping?
Because shipping, and it's just, I think the intimacy of the creature's face and teeth in his presence should be, you know, within 8 or 9 feet. I think after 10 foot, it's just this huge, like, kind of far-set photo op. But, I mean, not to say that we're not going to do anything huge, but, you know, I think the creatures that we're building are a nice size, and we're trying to keep them, like, right about 8, 9 feet, I think is fair.
What are some
Any bigger than that, I mean, these molds get huge.
I can imagine.
So, yeah, and they're fiberglass, and that's fine. I'm not doing, you know, massive stone molds anymore like we used to. We're doing a lot of fiberglass and silicone molds now, but still, I mean, these things take up a lot of room, and they're massive. And the more you have, you're going to need. Now I got a 10,000 square foot shop, but it's going to fill up fast if we keep adding, you know, these massive jacuzzi-sized molds.
You have some new things that you're offering now outside of some of the, you know, a little something different from what you've been offering in the past.
Just making some props that I think that the industry needs. Like, I love Universal monsters of the Frankenstein. I think there needed to be like a cutting edge version of a modern monster. And so I'm elaborating like on some lab stuff, some realism, doing a lot of life casts and clay pours and resculpts to sculpt the emaciation, sculpt the stitches and the autopsy and the gore and everything, and kind of just incorporating a lot of life molds into some of our new stuff. But I'm also I'm really excited about this idea of I'm going to attack costumes again here in the next few months. And I'm going to create a whole new line of costumes, at least 6 or 8 new costumes. And then I'm going to give people the opportunity to mix match heads, hands, themes, bodies, and kind of build their own suits off of our molds so that we can kind of create some new stuff, ideas from the clients. And I want to do the same with super creatures. I want to have a build your own super creature where they can pick out of like 9 or 10 heads, about 3 or 4 bodies, different sets of arms, add horns, add wings, add a tail, and then add your theme. We can do like Arctic themes, lava demons, swampy, gory, ghostly, a selection of maybe 9 themes that we can choose, and then we'll go to features, and we can choose whether we want it to be an interactive puppet, a motorized effect, a pneumatic air-driven prop, or a photo op. And I think that would be a really cool thing where people can kind of design and create themselves. Because a lot of people I do work for are creative people themselves. And I think that's important to let them kind of have some fun as well, you know.
Yeah,
so that's something I've been working on there.
Now, you can take on custom jobs, but it must be complicated because of everything else you have going on to like take the time to do something custom for someone.
I love doing custom work because it actually brings a whole new, fresh idea to the shop. You know, it's just like, let's say I'm collaborating a sculpture with Jordu or even Jonathan Fuller. If they came out here and maybe I started something or they started something and then I tweaked it, and we're getting something that not one of us could have done. You know what I mean? It's going to be something totally kind of new. Does that make any sense? Mm-hmm. Like let's say if I started a sculpture's form and John kind of worked on it a little bit, or Jordu, or whatever artist I felt, you know, I'd be in collaboration with over here sculpting. I think it's really neat that we can take something and take it out of one person's mind and then bring another mind into it, and it'll create something that neither one of us could have done alone, but this kind of newborn creature. Does that make any sense at all? Hopefully it does. I just think it's cool because it'd be something that I couldn't have created or they couldn't have created, so it's something that kind of was born off of 2 people's ideas. That's kind of the same thing with doing custom commissions. Like someone brings an idea to me and I build it, but it actually didn't come from my sole idea, and we build this really neat thing. I love that. There's something about that that's just really cool.
If somebody has a custom job they come to you with, is it like when you make it for them, it's only for them and cannot be reproduced or sold, like put on your site? Or do you have kind of an agreement with them that like, hey, yeah, we can do this for you. I can give you a little bit of a better price if I can, offer this in my selection of other, other props.
Of course, yeah, that's something that's always done like on a basis to basis, project. Something that we agree on and talk about. Usually, if someone wants to commission me to sculpt something, and it's something large for a very upscale haunt or a theme park, I agree that it should be theirs that first year. It should be exclusive for them the first year, and then I can introduce it maybe the next year. But I do like to keep the rights to all the creatures, of course.
Mm-hmm. Besides from Transworld, are there any other cons or trade shows that you do over the course of the year?
I do Monsterpalooza in Pasadena, California. It's more of a relaxed show, and it's a awesome atmosphere with the best of the best Hollywood effects artists in one room, and I think it's a very important show to do. It's very inspirational, and a lot of my friends are there, and I have a great time at the show. I don't approach that show with like the idea of I'm going to go there and take over the world and sell all this stuff. I kind of go there with a lot more of a relaxed mindset where I'm going to show some of my higher end work. I'm going to really focus on paint and hair punching and eyes and details and make these pieces really nice and try to let myself slow down from the whole Transworld hustle. See, Transworld's more of an intense business show where I'm building a ton of stuff for a ton of different people, writing 200 invoices. And Monsterpalooza, I feel, is really good for me. I feel it's where I can kind of drink a couple beers, have a glass of wine at the booth, still do business and meet people and network, but I'm slowing everything down and I'm focusing on quality over quantity. And I think that's really a nice thing for me to get there and kind of, I sit at the booth and I can paint and I can relax, I can do art, tunnel vision in and focus and like really kind of hone in on making a really nice piece. And not that I don't make nice pieces for Transworld, because I do, but it's like Monsterpalooza is a lot more relaxed atmosphere, and I can kind of focus on the art just a little bit more instead of the business aspect.
That's usually in April, isn't it?
Yeah, it's coming up in 2 weeks. So you've got, and that's going to be my 13th Monsterpalooza show too. So I mean, when I say I live this stuff, I mean I've been going to both of the shows for the last 13 years. I don't know if you know what kind of hustle that is, but it's pretty intense. I come back pretty beat up and tired, and I got a couple days I can rest. I can go to like a health spa, which I just got back from, and just kind of unwind for a day or two, but then I got to gear up and I got to really push forward on some really nice pieces to represent us, in Los Angeles, where the epicenter of, what we love dwells. Those artists in LA that have been working on all these films that we love are seasoned artists, 35-year veterans. And for me to even be in the same room and have my stuff hold up it's a really awesome feeling, to be able to take some puppets and entertain and take some nice pieces that I spent time on and show them without like having to write like a ton of invoices. It's more of a relaxed show. There's a lot of different people there. You never know who's walking around though. It could be all the way from home haunter, Halloween enthusiasts to people that have never seen anything up close and personal like that before, and they're just being introduced to, practical effects and pieces and displays like what we bring. And then there's also, aspiring filmmakers that have greenlit budgets that are ready to work on a film and want to hire me to do a creature suit. So it's got this wide range of clients.
Now, did I see on
Have you been?
I have not. I talked.
You got to get out.
A couple of years ago, I talked to my buddy who works with me on the podcast, and I said, "Hey, how about we not go to Transworld? We'll do something different. Maybe we'll hit Monsterpalooza." And we said we both were on. We were like, "Yeah, let's do that," and we still haven't done it.
It's a rad show. I have a great time every year. Elliot Brodsky, the guy that puts it on, his son Jack, they're amazing. They know what they're doing. They organize a great show, and I highly recommend you go. There's not another show like it in the world. So, or I haven't been to a show quite like that ever. I mean, it's just
So if you want to get
insane.
your monster on, that's where you go.
Yes.
Now,
They set up a really nice museum there, and it's just a great show all the way around. It's like I said, there's nothing else like it.
Now, did I see that you have internships available for people if you're out in the Scottsdale area? Was that right? Or
I did. I actually found two really awesome helpers in there. They're actually here right now pouring castings and mixing foam.
Okay.
And I do need a girl to help with herring werewolf suits and stylizing and doing some finishing work and theming and stuff like that. So I haven't found her yet. But we're looking for a girl that wants to take creature stylizing, hair punching, hand laying, eyelashes, fingernails, dental work, learning different style techniques that we do and finishing work and sealing and glossing, and then possibly answering phones a little bit, maybe writing an invoice here or there. And I'm looking for that person still, but I haven't quite found her.
All right. So if you're listening, if that's you out there, contact. How would somebody contact you? Do they just contact you through the website or direct email?
Yeah, they can contact me through the Facebook, Midnight Studios Effects on Facebook, my cell number, or email, midnightstudioseffects@yahoo.com.
Anything else you want to plug or promote?
No, not that I can think of. Just I'm glad that everyone's, been happy with what we've brought to the show so far, and doing my best to keep up with the workload, but it is heavy. And our new shop is at Scottsdale Talking Stick Entertainment Plaza. It's called the Scottsdale Pavilions. And we are about 70% moved in. We have split the building into different departments. We have our metal workshop, our casting and foaming area. We have our finishing room. We have a costume department. And we have a really beautiful front desk with a 4,000 square foot showroom surrounding it. And I'm trying to fill that up as we speak with animations, and some of our nicest stuff will be in that showroom.
All right. Well, hey, congratulations on all the success. It's well deserved.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Awesome. Love your stuff. And if you have not ever seen, if you're listening to this and you've never heard of Midnight Studios Effects or seen their work, then take your hand, reach it up, slap yourself across the face, and get with the program. Wow. And go check it out. They can catch it at Facebook, Midnight Studios Effects on Facebook, Midnight Studios FX.com, and anywhere else? You want Instagram or any of the other things?
Yeah, we're on Instagram as well. Yeah, Midnight_Effects, I believe. Zach Walsh is in charge. I'm not too big on my social media. I pop on there here and there to update some pictures, and that's about it. You won't hear from me much. Right. I'm more of a in the shop, hands-on guy.
Because that's for people who have too much time on their hands, and you obviously do not. So, and I don't want to tie you up any further.
I appreciate all the kind words, and it's really nice of you that you have offered me this opportunity to talk about the studio on here. So it was really good chatting with you. Appreciate everything, and I will talk with you later.
Awesome, Kyle. Thanks.
I'm going now. Heaven help you.
Please like and follow the podcast.
Stalk us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Links in the description. And help us by sharing Hauntcast with all your haunted Halloween brethren. Until next time, stay scary.